Welcome to another Saturday night and taking it to the nub. But it's not Saturday, it's Thursday. I am so messed up. We had a major hurricane. We had a hurricane the other week. I haven't done the show in a few weeks. I'm happy to be back. We have power. We're ready to roll. So we're going to be getting this show started in just a moment. You're going to learn all about the Toro Cigar Company, owned by a gentleman named Mike Glover. And Mike is a fabulous individual. We're going to have a lot of fun, learn how he got his cigar company started and how you can get things from Toro Cigar Company. So with that, I'm going to do a quick advertising segment as always.
Brought to you by Casa Cuevas Cigars. In the 19th century, Juan Cuevas, Spanish immigrant from Santander, began what was to be a family business which now spans 4 generations. Like others fortunate enough to live and work in Pinar del Rio province of Cuba, Juan commenced cultivating tobacco, turning it into a successful business. Years later, in the Ciabo Valley of the Dominican Republic, Luis Cuevas Sr., Juan Jr.'s son, carried on the family tradition of handcrafting fine cigars in the family's cigar factory, Tabacalera Las Lavas. Today, Luis Sr. is joined by his son Luis Jr. in the manufacturing and sale of premium long filler cigars. So check out Casa Cuevas Cigars at www.casacuevascigars.com and on their Instagram and Facebook channels.
Catelli Cigars is back. The past few years brought many questions and changes to the cigar industry. In the wake of all uncertainty, Catelli Cigars decided to take a break and try their hand in the retail side of cigars. With 2 shops under their belt, first Riverside Cigar Bar, and now the Catelli Cigar Lounge in Vero Beach, Florida, they are now more educated in the retail and the wholesale sides of the cigar business. During this time, they received many inquiries about their cigars returning to the market. Making the difficult decision to take a break from their brand was eased knowing that when the time was right, Catelli would be back, and now they are. Catelli is excited to bring their first release, the Catelli Box Air, back to market. The Box Air, a rich box-pressed San Andreas Mexican Maduro with a Nicaraguan binder and filler, come in Box Air's 3 original sizes, Robusto, Toro, and Gordo. You can check out Catelli Cigars at catellicigars.com. And also check out their Facebook and Instagram pages. Brother Mike, how are you? You got on mute.
Okay, there we are.
Brother Mike, how are you doing today?
I am good, Jimmy. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing much better than our brethren on the west coast of Florida.
Thank goodness for that.
Like Daytona and elsewhere, and the other 3 million people here that are without power. So,
wow,
I got power. This is great. Finally get the show.
3 million people without power. I haven't seen all the stats yet come out. You know, it's a little slow, the news getting up here to Virginia.
Now it is a lot of power outages, lot of I think there is less flooding than what one might have expected from this, but there's still flooding.
Wow.
And there's pockets everywhere. I'm hearing reports from folks in Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Tampa, Sarasota. There's devastation down there. There's no
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
The local news channel, what we see is more than what the nation sees, and
Yeah.
they're just everywhere. And even the tornadoes in South Florida, no, nowhere near this storm devastation of tornadoes. 100 and over 126, 130 tornado warnings, and over 36 tornadoes popped on Florida yesterday afternoon.
That's insane. That's an insane amount of tornadoes in a 24-hour period.
It set a record.
Yeah.
It,
It's got to be a record for the entire country, don't you think?
it
Or is
was,
it
but the
is it
number of warnings were for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, cuz I'm not a big weather buff, but I've seen Twister, and I can't imagine that, man. That's scary, dude.
Yeah, it was frightening in the afternoon because the storm was still 400 miles away from me. It
Right.
was 400 miles away, 200 miles in the Gulf, another 200 to get to me. The outer bands, the far outer bands, was swinging around the whole peninsula. And when
Yeah.
they came and started coming off of the Atlantic back in, all it was doing, because it started to spread the wind field, and they would just you saw the map of the tornado. They put the little lines around. It was just, and you can see the
Wow.
little hooks, and they would zoom in, and the meteorologists are going, "There's another one," and they can zoom down to the street and be like, "Okay, if you live on this street right now, you've got 5 minutes to get in your safe place." And this is going on
Oh.
all afternoon, and I'm sitting there. We don't even have a storm here yet, other than that, and the rain was coming, and
Oh.
and then once it came in, it got so top heavy. It was beelining the eye was essentially targeted to go right over my house,
Yeah.
right? But it got so top heavy and distorted that back end that I was on, right? I was on the southern end of it, and I was walking around in the evening, early morning, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it was windy, but there was no rain we got.
So the southern half of the eye just fell apart as it came across the land,
As it
right?
came, and it hooked
Yeah.
around the other way. So it brought that other, and you saw that huge hook that went out into the Atlantic, just brought all that moisture, and like Daytona got whacked with
Oh.
this because they had the storm surge,
Yep.
right? They had the rain. Now the next thing we're gonna deal with, besides the cleanup, is there's a river that runs through Florida called the St. Johns. And the St. Johns River is one of the only rivers in the world that flows from south to north.
Okay.
Okay. So believe it or not, the tip of Florida is higher than the head of Florida.
Okay.
And it goes through, expansion basin areas, swampy areas.
Hmm.
But that water, it's already getting to major flood stage and cresting stage right now, and they say that flows out of Jacksonville, Florida. So here it's normally this little trickle, so small thing. Up
Yep.
there it's usually a raging river anyway, going out to the ocean. That's
Right.
all gonna rise,
Yep.
and it's gonna crest, and that's our next problem.
Yeah. That's one of the things we get hurricanes in Virginia. East Coast, and I'm right on the coast, right in Tidewater, Virginia, Newport News, Hampton Roads area, Norfolk area.
I know that
And
well.
yeah, a lot of times, the hurricane comes through category 1, category 2, it's a direct hit or pretty close to it, maybe Northeast North Carolina. And it's, wind and rain, maybe a couple tornado warnings here and there. But then 3, 4, 5 days later, the flooding starts because the hurricane moves across Virginia and just pelts the central part and the mountain area of Virginia, which feeds all the rivers that come down to the coast.
Right.
And that's where we get major flooding a week, 2 weeks after the hurricane comes through. It's insane.
Yeah. And then here, the problem with this river, it doesn't go down because it starts in Lake Okeechobee.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is a feeder down there that just keeps. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be our next issue. And, knock on wood, we don't have any more storms for a while and everything
Right.
can calm down. But my heart goes out to everybody, especially our friends over on the West Coast. I
Yeah.
know they are hurting right now. A lot of them are without power. I know I got a 90-something-year-old uncle that lives just north of Tampa, and they said they're okay today, so it looks like
Good.
they survived. Um,
Yeah.
and it looks like our friend Arnie Seraphin in Tarpon Springs fared a little better than the last storm. But I guess we'll just wait, find out. We'll get the
Yeah. The next couple of days are going to be a news filled with storm damage reports, overhead drone footage, helicopters flying in to survey the damage. And unfortunately, I'm sure there'll be a death count too.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
I'm taking the nub. What are you smoking tonight?
Tonight, I went with the Dissident Plasmatic.
Nice. I love plasmatics. I told
I that
in
I love this cigar. I told Sin, I said we're gonna start a little movement for my own personal movement for her to make it part of the core line.
there you
So
go.
hashtag plasmatic for core line.
I love it. So I'm smoking actually an original Guillermo Pena cigar.
Nice.
Okay, so Guillermo is well known for a lot of boutique level cigars. This is their own brand, but he also makes them for Patrick Potter and his
Yep.
brand. He also makes them for Rodriguez Cigars down in Key West. So he has some rock solid stuff, and also he works with whatchamacallit, Stallone cigars.
Nice.
So
Okay.
all good brands, all quality
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
small brands. I'm pairing that, of course, with I don't have any more whiskey. I drank it all last night. My last drop was at 4:30 in the morning, so I had to resort to my Yingling.
Oh, there you go. So I'm pairing mine with a little bit, the last little bit of screwball I have here.
Nice. Um, let's talk about Toro cigars. So you are you have an interesting story to tell because of the journey that you went on, and I'll let you explain it. I'll just touch on a couple of simple things. I know you started last year.
Yes,
You
sir.
launched this. It's currently an online cigar shop, but
It
that
is.
wasn't the original plan. And you do have a partner in this also, and
Yep.
you are veteran owned. So let's break that down. Start with the basic story of how you guys came to this decision to get into cigar retail, which is not an easy decision to make.
No, it's really not. Of course, just probably like anything else in life. Until you're in it, you don't know what's involved with being in it. There's so many unknowns until you're actually in the business. But to make a long story is short and painless as possible. Ken, my partner, he and I have been friends for almost 15 years. We met through our wives at a local church. Our wives are dear friends, and Ken and I immediately hit it off, and just we've hung out, we vacation together all the time. Every year we go to the Outer Banks, and we do a lot of other traveling together too. So it was good that he and I hit it off. But a couple years ago, we started kind of cigar lounge hopping together, in local here in Hampton Roads, and there's some great cigar lounges here in Hampton Roads. But the one thing I think that we noticed was no one cigar lounge in this area does everything right. So some cigar lounges have a great lounge area with great ventilation, but their humidor is small. Or they've got a great large humidor with a ton of selection, and very small seating area or very poor ventilation. So um, it's just one of those things. He and I were sitting on my back porch. It's about 2 years ago, having a cigar, just talking about lounges and how much we enjoy to go see them all. But then, the conversation turned after a couple of bourbons to, you know, I think we could do it better. I think this area is ripe for a lounge that does everything right. Great humidor, great selection, great seating area and environment, and great ventilation. To me, those are the three things that make a cigar lounge primo, right? And he goes, "Yeah, you know what? I think we could." So we started, just BS and just talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And eventually we said, "You know what? Why don't we just do it?" I'm in my mid 50s, and it's always been my plan to retire from corporate America and do something probably closer to 60 or 65. But, I didn't want to stop working. And this seemed like a great idea to kind of work towards. And so we started working on a business plan. We did all of our research, we did industry research, we did local market research. We put together this ballin 83-page business plan. We met with a couple of commercial real estate guys, and they put us in touch with a couple of commercial lenders. And we sat down with them and we said, "Here's what we want to do. Here's our plan. Can you just give us some feedback? Can you tell us, what do you think?" And they looked it over and they said, "You know what? This is good. You guys need to finalize this and get it submitted. We think we can get you funded." Great. Hey, this sounds like a great idea. So we did. We finalized our plan. And in January of 2023, we went to submit our business plan and formal application to our first commercial lender. And they had it for about 2 days. And the guy calls me back and he says, "Mike," he goes, "I'm so sorry, but we just found out we're not funding startups due to the economy. We're just not going to fund startups. We like you guys. We love your business plan. You guys did a great job. We think you got something going here. We just can't fund a startup right now. It's come down from the higher ups at the bank. We're not funding startups." He said, "But, go check out this. I got a contact over here. Go check out this other commercial lender. We think they can help you." "Okay, great. Hey, thanks for the referral." Called the other bank. They were like, "Yeah, come on in, meet with us." We did. Yeah, sounds great. Send us your stuff. We sent them the stuff. 2 days later, I get the same phone call. "We love you guys. We love your plan. We're not funding startups, and
Mm.
due to the economy." So what else would you do, right? Let's go to the Small Business Administration, right? Surely those guys are going to help startups. That's what they're there for. That's what the whole premise of the Small Business Administration is, to help small businesses get started and keep going and keep the lights on and all that stuff. So we went to the SBA, and what I didn't realize was, in the last 20 years or so since I had anything to do with the Small Business Administration, they have now farmed out all of their funding to commercial lending partners. So they don't actually take applications through the Small Business Administration for small business funding. They refer you to their commercial partner lending network, and you submit the application, and then people reach out to you. And believe it or not, 3 banks from that lending network all said the same thing: "We like you guys. We like your plan. We're not funding startups because of the economy." So this was about 6 weeks or so of this, back and forth and trying to figure it all out. And I'm just, man, just kick me in the stomach.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. How can we make this happen? Me and Ken are on the same back porch, uh, with, just crying Ken's crying in his beer. I'm crying in my bourbon. We're smoking cigars, and we're just, what are we going to do? And Ken said, "You know what? Why don't we just go online?" Because both of us had, we both had our initial deposit, you know, for that set aside. We had our own savings that we were going to put into this as a down payment for the commercial lending. Why don't we just take that go online. Online was always part of our business plan. It was well documented in our business plan. My background for the last 20 years, I've done digital marketing. That's what I do. E-commerce, social media, digital marketing, building online communities. This is what I've done for the last 20 years. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. So we took what we were going to put as a down payment on our commercial loan and we sunk it into converting his 2-car garage, which I'm sitting in now, into our podcast studio. And right behind me on the other side of that wall, right there is a 1,200 cubic foot humidor we built from
Mm.
scratch,
Oh, nice.
where we store all of our inventory and we bring everything in. We put it in there. It's professionally maintained at between 68 and 72 percent humidity, and that's where we store all of our humidor. We built a shipping and receiving station right over there, and we went and got a website built. And I went to my buddy, a good buddy of mine, who's another digital marketer, and I had him, Jake McCluskey. He's the one who built our website.
And let me
I,
pop that up while you're talking. Let me just share that website for everybody so they can
sure.
see it.
And then
So it's torocigarcompany.com.
yep, that's us right there.
So, yeah, so
So
again, I'll drop this back down, put you back on the screen.
yeah. So we built the website and we started reaching out to manufacturers and saying, "Hey, we want to carry your line." And believe it or not, again, here we go. We had everything else lined up. We had our LLC form, we had our retail business license, we got our tobacco license, which
Right.
is not an easy task nor a relatively cheap task, but we got it. We got it faster than we thought we would. And as soon as we had all of that in hand, we started reaching out to manufacturers. Well, believe it or not, there's a large segment of cigar manufacturers that do not want to sell online only.
That's correct. And I was going to say that when I look at your site, I could see that journey as I look at your site because you have, well, you've got a bunch of cigar brands on there that are near and dear to my heart.
Right.
Okay, I've reviewed a lot of the things that are on that site. A lot of small companies, a lot of the boutique cigar association companies are on there,
Yep.
and when you're small, you take care of small, and you take care of each other.
Exactly. And so we started reaching out to more boutique brands and we started getting yeses and boom, okay, okay, okay. So we got some of our initial orders in, but then we went to PCA last July 2023. And that's when it really kind of kicked off for us
Hmm.
because people who had told us no, either over the phone or via email, we got to meet face to face and we got to share our story and what we were doing and what we were trying to do. And I'm going to use Artesano del Tobacco as a perfect example.
Phenomenal people.
Phenomenal people.
Just
Love Billy and Gus,
Billy
man.
and
Those
Gus,
guys,
amazing.
absolutely salt of the earth people. But they had told us no originally. When we went to PCA, I got to shake their hand. I got to tell them my story. And they were like, you know what? Yes, you guys can carry us. You can have access to all of our line. Whatever you want, whatever you need, you just let us know. And that is what really kind of kicked us off because we had, I think we had maybe 8 or 9 brands before PCA of last year. And now I think we're approaching over 23,
Yeah, I mean,
22.
if I go through the list, just looking at this list, some of the ones that really stand out. So you got obviously Artesano del Tobacco. You got Ish with BMAF,
Yep.
right? Black Label. You got James Brown stuff on there, and the
Yes,
whole
sir.
line along with Dissonant. Okay. You've got you carry the cigar clowns now. So I've noticed
We
that
do.
you are a good distribution for cigar clowns because now they've expanded their footprint when they're no longer doing very limited drops.
Correct.
You were able to land Espinosa.
That's
How,
another that's
how did
another
that
great.
how did you get Espinosa?
So again, at PCA, another company that initially told us no, they have Eric has a different distribution model, and he uses I can't remember that company he uses, but he uses a distribution company, handles all of his accounts. But very busy guy at PCA, right? But
Absolutely.
Jake and I walked over, and we caught him in between appointments at PCA, and we just wanted to just say, hey, we just want to introduce ourselves. Shook his hand, and he goes, well, I'm kind of busy, but I'd love to talk to you guys. We said, okay. He said, come back in 2 hours. So we walked around PCA a little bit more. Nothing hurt my feelings. Walk around PCA for 2 more hours, right? And then come back and sit down. We did. He waved us over. We sit down in his little private meeting area there, and he goes, "So, what's going on? What's going on with Toro Cigar?" And we told him. I got to tell my story again, and he goes, "So, what do you want? What are you asking of me?" And I said, "Well, man, I'd love to carry your stuff." And he goes, "That's it? That's all I can? That's what you need?" And I said, "I think that's all we need." And he goes, "Hey," and the guy, his distribution guy, comes over, and he goes, "Take care of these guys, whatever they need." And set up their account, get them going. And he did. I mean, we sat down right there, filled out a quick little form,
You got the
and
full line,
yeah, we have access to the full Espinosa line. We don't carry everything.
but you carry the knuckle sandwiches
We carry the knuckle sandwiches. Yes, sir.
and the
Yep.
labamas and
Yep. We carry all of that. Yeah. So it's another great, you know, it's amazing what face to face conversations
oh,
do
absolutely.
versus, email and phone calls. And that's just another example of, sitting down, seeing somebody face to face, shaking their hand and getting a deal done. And that's what it took. And that's what we did.
Well, and then you've also got my friends from Family by Loyalty. Okay,
Alan, I love my man, Alan.
he's a lot of fun. Um, you've got founders Forte Libra. You've got GTO, Dr. Oscar stuff,
Doc. Yes, sir. Yep.
right? Good man. HDA.
Yep. Those are
Uh,
brand new. Have you met those guys yet?
I have not met the guys from HDA yet.
Jimmie, you got to make a point to meet those guys.
I
I'm going to
will.
tell you, those are some impressive individuals. They just launched in April
Okay.
of this year, and they are killing it. They
How,
have three different cigars. That's what they started with. Same Vitola, Descending Shadows, Veiled Mutiny, and the Cataclysm cigar. And I'm telling you, our audience eats those guys up. They love HDA cigars.
you got Hoot and Young.
Hooten Young.
That's another fun company.
Yep.
You were able to land Karen Berger. You work good with Bruce on that.
We met Bruce at PCA. We worked with Bruce. I love Bruce. Bruce is a great guy. Um, and it was a feather in our cap. Again, it's another kind of Espinosa moment to be able to bring them on. They haven't moved like I hope they would, in all honesty. But I'm working with Bruce. We're gonna work some stuff out and see what we can't do. I think in the community that we currently serve. So we're a veteran owned company. We're very closely tied to the veteran community. We work with a lot of veteran charities. We're doing a huge push this month and next month for our Veterans Day event for Dogs Inc. Right, and
Okay.
which provides at no cost to veterans, law enforcement, and firefighters, first responders free service dogs, trained service dogs. These are actual, fully certified uh, service dogs. And these people, you apply, you get approved, you go on the list, and then they basically fly you down, train you on how to work with the dog that they trained for you, and then turn the dog over to you. But more importantly, for the life of the dog, there's no cost, no food, no vet, no anything. Dogs
Good.
Inc. pays for all of that.
Well, that's really nice.
Right. So we're very closely tied with the veteran community. We love working with other veteran companies. You'll see on that list, there's a lot of
Yeah. You
veteran.
also got Silent Hero, Stolen
Yep.
Throne.
Yep.
Um, uh, you've got Warfighter.
Yep. Warfighter. Great
Okay.
guys over there. Love John and his crew. But
And
yeah,
veteran-owned cigars.
yep. And so we have a link on our sites. It's just if you're shopping just for veteran owned cigars, you can pull those out too, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it's kind of the niche that we're carving out in the cigar retail environment is veteran owned cigars and craft/boutique cigars, and man, we're just having a blast doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're gonna get back into the site some more, um, and we're gonna get into some other topics of some of early lessons you've maybe have learned. Um, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the last advertisement segment, and then when we come back, what we'll do is we'll go through some of that. And by the way, one of the brand, I'll just give you a shout out on a couple of things that I kind of like that's new. I'm all about right now a brand called Rebellion Cigars.
Okay.
Okay, they're based out of the UK. They got a presence here. They got operations here over in Orlando. Great line of cigars. It's all about music. They got a rock star version and a country version. The names of these cigars, great story, and they are looking for outlets here in America to get their footprint here. So they may be a great person. I can get you connected to them on how to do that.
You're like the third person in the last 3 weeks that have said, Mike, you need to look at Rebellion cigars.
There you go. I mean, I'm only at one source, but I
Hey
know
there.
I know what I like, and usually it's out there, and they've been rated high. It's
Nice.
not super highly rated on my site like some others, but they definitely are rock solid cigars.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So we're going to do this quick last advertising, and then we're going to come back and we dig deeper into the Toro Cigar Company with Mike.
From the valleys in Honduras to the heart of Louisiana, where excellence thrives, two legacies come together to harvest a new tradition. For many years, Honduras has been a symbol of quality and hard work, inspiring many achievements. At Bocock Brothers, we craft cigars that embody passion and precision, rooted in a commitment to excellence. From the tobacco leaves in the fields to crafting the cigars in the factory, we celebrate our partnership with LSU. Introducing the LSU Commemorative Cigar Collection. Each cigar a tribute to the spirit of excellence that defines both. Join us in this celebration, a symbol of pride, a mark of distinction, a taste of history, crafting excellence together.
And today's show is brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova is a family owned and operated premium cigar company. Only the highest vintage tobacco and the most skilled hand workmanship go into the making of each Platinum Nova cigar. This results in a timeless blend of art and craftsmanship. The Nova brand and the family's work are a tribute and an honor to their grandfather to always remember him and his infinite passion for the finest cigars. Their love for cigars started with their grandfather, a dedicated master blender and entrepreneur in the cigar industry. So the next time you're looking for that exquisite cigar experience, pick up a Platinum Nova. You could check them out at Platinum Nova Cigars, www.novacigar.com, and on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter channels. And today's show is brought to you by All Saints Cigars, a company founded in 2019 and headed up by industry veteran Mickey Pegg and his two friends, Martin Corboy, a successful restaurateur, and Frank Leo, an Air Force Academy graduate military veteran. As Mickey explains it, they were all sitting down talking and smoking cigars, and finally they decided that they would do this thing together. It was time. Mickey said, I decided if I'm going to work hard at it, it should be something I love. Besides, a tough day with a cigar is better than a great day doing anything else. Soon after, they began the process of launching All Saints cigars, jokingly referring to themselves as the Holy Trinity: St. Michael, St. Martin, and St. Francis. They chose for their logo the cross of St. James, the patron saint of Nicaragua, the country where their cigars would be produced. You can check out All Saints Cigars at www.allsaintscigars.com.
Okay, so let's break a few things down on this. So when you now have an online presence, it's been running since
We did a soft launch in early, mid June of
okay.
last year, and then we did our official launch on July 1st of 2023.
Okay. So we're a little over a year.
Yep.
Um you've done some turnover on this already. You've been reordering.
Oh, we've been reordering a lot and adding new brands almost monthly since November of last year. So yeah, we've done a lot. We've we're not without getting too deep into the details. We almost doubled our first year projections. It's a brand new e-commerce website. So anytime you launch an e-commerce website, you want to try to say, this is my target. This is what I want to get, in sales in the first year. And we had a number in mind, which what I felt like was, pretty reasonable number, in sales. And, that not, we targeted 50K in sales, right? If brand new e-commerce website, that would be a good year for any e-commerce website starting up. That would be a good number to hit. And we almost doubled that in our first year. And
Congratulations.
yeah, it's been great. It's we've been very well received by the cigar community, not only cigar smokers but the manufacturers. We've been very, very well received. We attribute that a lot to our involvement, our social media presence, and our podcast. And we're hamstrung as a digital marketer. I'm absolutely hamstrung by the regulations in tobacco. So
Sure.
I can't buy a single Facebook ad.
Nope.
I cannot buy a single Instagram ad, TikTok,
You need
uh,
this.
Twitter. I can't buy ads like anybody else with an e-commerce site. I can't say, okay, I've got $10,000 I can spend on an advertising budget. I don't have that. I
Right.
can't do it. They're not going to let me run ads because it's tobacco. And, it's against their policy. Although it's a legal product, they will not let you run ads for it. So everything has to kind of be organic, which is okay. We're okay with
Yeah.
that. And I knew that. And as a digital marketer, I know the organic side better than I know the paid
But
side.
you can post
I
photos,
can, I can post,
awareness,
yeah, I can post photos. I can
which is
post videos. I
kind
can
of
do,
kind of advertising behind the scenes. I know Facebook's trying to crack down on that, Instagram.
yep,
Um, I know I was in for the first time in my life, I was in Facebook jail a couple of months ago because the new rule is like when I put out a cigar review, I would I would post a picture and I would post a link and then people can just click it and go to the cigar
it's,
review. Well,
it's,
suddenly that became taboo. You're not allowed to
yep,
do that. So now you got to say, see comments, and then I can comment and post a link in the comment. It's like,
yep,
it's what's the difference, guys? It's just an
it's,
extra click for me, an extra click for the
yep,
audience. But everybody's on that board. All my media friends, we all have gone through the same thing. And I'm
yep.
like, and they're going to crack down harder on it. I know
They
that.
are, they
Uh,
are, they
so you
are.
gotta you fall into an advertisement campaign where you got to work. You work with people like myself and other
Yep,
media. All
yep,
right, like these ads I put up here, the ads on my site.
yep,
Um, to build the awareness, and we partner together to help build each other's up. But you
yep.
also partner with your brand owners because I know
Correct.
they come out with press release. I got connected to you through one of these press releases or something. Somewhere I saw like how you're connected with some of these brands that I'm so fond of. And I'm like,
Yep.
I gotta get this guy on the show, man. People gotta know who you are.
So, that's one, honestly, that's one of the best things I like about this industry. And it was unknown to me entering the industry. Coming from corporate America in a corporate marketing environment, your competitors were your enemy.
Right.
And it was you step on their throat when you knock them down. You finish them. And in the cigar industry, that's not the case. Competitors want to help you, and it was new to me, but we adapted very well, and so we help competitors. I've helped competitors, online competitors. I've helped brick and mortars shore up their digital media, their social media. I know Jake has, and I know Ken has had several conversations with different people, all trying to, you know, all tides rise, all ships, right? So, you
It,
know,
it's all about it's the passion for the
yep,
league. And more importantly, we're all in this game, whether you are a fully vertically integrated large company with the fields, the factories, the processing, and everything,
yep,
or you are a brand owner that uses these factories, or you're a brick and mortar, or you're a online, or you're media. All of us are in this game for one very important thing: to keep those farmers farming,
yep,
to keep that leaf being produced, and working together to continue to push out new ideas, new brands, new extensions, new lines.
yep,
So the enthusiasts have access to information about what's new, what's coming out, where to get things. Everybody's searching for the best deals,
yep.
and yeah, you can have this argument, and I get some of these brands that they only want to go with brick and mortar because brick and mortar is the staple of the business when it comes to retail.
It
But
is.
we're living in the 21st century also, and there are people that don't have any brick and mortars near them. Okay, they need access to product, and you serve some of that because not all brick and mortars have online presence or an online retail presence the way
Correct.
a true online like yours has. So it's always serving the common good of the industry, keeping it alive and bringing more and more cigars into the country. Even though the FDA and the anti-tobacco people hate us.
Yeah. They would have it go the other way.
Of course they would. Of course
Yep.
they would want to shut down online first and foremost. If
For
they
sure.
they would
Yep.
want to put you right out of business, and that's
Yep.
going to be very difficult now because you're tax-paying citizens, right? Let's be real. I mean, I'm sure you're not coming in with losses anymore. You're starting to pay taxes on your income, all right? As do
Correct.
I, right? After
Yep.
all these years, and I tell people, it's like I'm not this guy that just gets a couple dollars. I every year I pay taxes on Stogie Press. It's like
Yeah.
I feel once you get to that point, you're successful. No matter whether it's $10 or $100 in taxes, you become successful because you have a profitable enterprise.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little scary. I mean, being in this industry, it's a little scary that the government could shut me down tomorrow.
Right.
They could come in and say across the board. And there's a couple of states that restrict online sales into their states. And it's starting to grow. That trend is starting to grow a little bit. And they're doing it under the premise of, we want our local brick and mortar businesses to have that business. And I get it. I completely understand, you know, um, but there are a lot of people, like you said, that don't have access to brick and mortars or can't leave their house and still want to enjoy a cigar.
Right.
And if I can provide that, I'm going to for as long as I can.
Now, I also notice on your site, besides the cigars, you also have a small amount of accessories. Um, from a cutter perspective, and looks like from the lighter perspective, you're partnered with Lotus right now.
Yeah,
Have
Lotus.
you
Yep.
considered partnering also with quality importers?
Yeah, we're beginning the process of looking at expanding our accessory line for sure. Lotus has been great for us, been a great partner. Uh, we've had, I think, maybe two customers that have come back and say, "Hey, I've had a problem with my lighter," and I'm instantly like, "Hey, here's the link. Contact Lotus. This is a lifetime guarantee," and they do a great job of
Yes, they
taking
do.
care of that for our customers. So we don't have to deal with it. But but again, the cigar industry and the accessory subcomponent of that industry is massive and expansive, and there's a lot of great cigar accessory manufacturers out there. So we are looking at different things for
When
2025.
when you look at if you look at QI, right, quality importers, they've tremendously expanded their footprint. I was just recently, a few months ago, I was down at an event at a retailer event at their warehouse,
Okay.
South Florida, and their facility. Okay. It's massive. I mean, it's a
Mm,
massive facility. And you're looking at a company that not only they own Zycar now, right?
yeah.
They own Stinky Ash,
Yeah.
the ashtrays, right?
Yeah.
Ashtrays. They own that company now. They have numerous lines. They have a catalog, a ginormous catalog of humidors, right? And they'll do drop ships too, right? So you you might want to contact them and just get on their buyer program because
Yeah.
you have access to so much stuff that you could pick and choose what you want to put on your site and
Yeah.
provide for your customers and say, hey, you got this cool stuff. Plus the fact they've got this thing called a swag bunker where they can take all these Zycar cutters and stuff and just create all kinds of artwork on that customized for you.
Nice.
I mean, so there's all kinds of cool things. So there to me is like one of the biggest right now, and what they're trying to push in their footprint as they've grown. When you go, so if you're in this site, and how what incentives do you provide incentives to your customers? So if I'm going to come in and buy, you got sample packs, you got cigars, are there discounts on that? How do you win over somebody? Like, is it because you go into shops sometimes, they run
Yep.
events, right?
Yeah.
When they have an event, right? If I'm going to an Espinosa event at my local lounge,
Right.
you're gonna have Espinosa in, and you're going to have special deals. Are you planning to do something like that? Maybe get an Espinosa on your show, and during that time, people can get special deals for the next week or so after that show with a code that provides them these types of incentives. So running it
Right.
similar to a brick and mortar, have you considered that?
So we did start initially, and you kind of paint a little bit about lessons learned. And I think our biggest lesson that we learned was we don't want to be a discount house. There's enough of those guys out there. If you need to shop for a cigar and you need the best possible, lowest possible price to get your cigars, there are a lot of great sites out there where you can find some great deals, and that's not going to be us, right? So to your point, what can we do, right? How can we win that customer over, that first time customer to our site? Well, first of all, we like to think, hey, we're veteran owned. So if you want to support a veteran owned company, we're your guys. The second thing is our manufacturers, right? We hand pick these manufacturers. We smoke every cigar before we put it in the humidor. We do not put bad cigars in the humidor. We all have to agree this is a good cigar, this is a good blend. We're going to put it in the humidor. It might not be my personal cup of tea, but
Right.
as long as it's constructed well, it burns well, it's got good smoke production, and the flavor is okay, it can go in. And then the last thing that we do is we do partner with our manufacturers. And if you look at the homepage, you'll see we're running an HDA raffle right now.
Well, let's take a quick look at that, and you can point me to where that is. So if I go back to the site, so going on the site, if I just started from the top here. So okay, so
Yep.
new HDA raffle.
Yep. So the way we run our raffles is this, right? So we put stuff in our raffles that we would want for ourselves, right? So this is, you can see right here that we had a great custom made HDA ashtray that's made by East Coast Timber. We found this guy through Big Sky Cigars. He did a custom ashtray for Big Sky and put it on. He, I don't even think that they commissioned him for it. He just did it because he
Hmm.
loved the Big Sky Cigar logo. So he did a Big Sky Cigar ashtray and put it on his Instagram. And man, I was like, man, that's a beautiful ashtray. And I just commented on it, and he goes, "Hey, you want to buy it?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, how much is it?" And I think he said it was 300 or $350. And I was like, "Well, yeah, I don't know if I want to buy that ashtray." But I said, "You know what? We're gonna run an HDA raffle or a Big Sky raffle. I'd love an ashtray like that as part of the giveaway. You know, can you give me a break on the price?" And he did. I actually, I think he traded cigars for it. So I sent him some cigars. He sent me the ashtray, and
Yeah.
it worked out great. Um, but as an example, so this HDA ashtray, ball cap, and a T-shirt, a box of Cataclysms, and a $250 gift card to our website. Now, all you got to do to enter is buy any sample pack on our website, any box of cigars or bundle of cigars, and you get automatically entered to win. We pull our customer list down of everybody who's ordered. We put the names into Wheel of Names, and we draw live on Instagram the Tuesday after the first Tuesday after the month ends that the raffle is running in.
That's on the ninth.
Well, this time we're doing it different because we're doing our in-person Veterans Day event on Saturday, November 9th. We're going to do this drawing on that event. So we're selling 50 tickets. People can come. We've got people coming as far away as Michigan. Last year, we had people come in for our first event from as far away as California to our first Veterans Day event. And so we're super excited about that. We're going to do that drawing, the HDA drawing, because HDA is a veteran-owned company. They'll be here on site with us. We're going to do that drawing live at our Veterans Day event.
So you actually do, so let me understand that correctly. So for this particular thing, you actually have a in-person event
We
at
do, yes.
your warehouse or wherever you're at there.
It's actually going to be in Ken's backyard because this is where his garage is. So it's a detached garage, completely detached from his house, which is what we call our shop/studio. But he's got a big enough yard. We put up tents, we put some heaters out, we feed everybody, we give them gift bags for their ticket price. They're filled with cigars, swag, and goodie. And then we do door prizes throughout the entire event.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a great event. It was a great event last
How many
year.
people show up for that?
Well, so last year I think we sold 25 tickets because it was
Okay.
our first event. We just wanted to see, hey, is this something we even want to do? But being a veteran-owned company and being very involved in the veteran community, we kind of got a lot of feedback saying, yeah, we'd love a Veterans Day event. And so we put 25 tickets up for sale, and we sold out within a week.
Hmm.
So we were like, oh, okay, people are interested in this. So we did it, and we had 25 people out. I think it was a total of almost 30 people. And then we had a great time. It was a great opportunity to meet a lot of people we met online through HERFs, through our podcast, and through social media that actually get to meet them face to face here at our shop. And so this year we're doubling the size. It was such a great event last year. We're selling 50 tickets this year. I think that's probably about the max
I was gonna
for
say,
Ken's backyard,
you
but it may even be over max, but we're going to make it work anyway.
do you also have any of your brand owners showing up? Do you get somebody like Ish showing up?
We definitely get brand owners showing up. This year we have already so Lee from Stolen Thrones will be here, Alan with Family About Loyalty will be here, HDA will be here. John Aldi, who reps for a lot of these companies, will be here. Bougie Bill Rayner, who reps for Family by Loyalty, will be here. And Ish is trying to be here. Ish with BAM Cigars is trying to be
Oh,
here, but his schedule's a little crazy.
wow, yeah. Damn, I wish I knew that because I planned to. I'm actually going to be going. My 65th birthday is November 8th, and everybody wanted to know what I'm doing for my birthday, and I decided to do something completely out of the ordinary. And I'm visiting a friend of mine up in Toronto, area.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm going up there for the whole week. I'm actually flying out, believe it or not. I'm actually flying out at 6 o'clock in the morning on election day. I'm flying out on election day. I'm early voting, flying out on election day, and I'm going to be counting. I'm going to be watching the returns from Ontario.
Nice.
And I tell people, hey, maybe Jimmie doesn't come back.
Maybe, maybe it just depends on who wins, right?
Without getting into all the politics, but it's
Right,
just
right.
so we decided to do that, and then so we're not coming back to the to that Sunday, my wife and I.
Oh,
But
that's
an old
nice.
friend of mine that he's been down here a couple times with his wife, and I've been promising him, and I said, you know what? I did this huge birthday party for myself on 60th birthday. I did
Yep.
his blowout party. That was a big milestone. I said 65. I've already done that. I said, I'm going up to Toronto. I'm just gonna have fun with a friend
Right.
and just kind of low key in a sense of I'm not doing some big pizzazz thing, I
Yeah.
did it.
That's awesome though.
So plus I get to bring him like 50 cigars because I can bring 50 cigars into Canada,
There
without
you
paying
go.
any duty. So
There you go. We get a
I bring
lot of
him a stash.
we get a lot of requests. Will you ship to Canada?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, I have shipped. I've done wheels of giveaways in the past, and I've had some winners up in Canada. And my answer is, I will ship these out. I will say I will not lie. I will say on the package that it contains cigars. All right.
Yep.
And if it gets picked up by customs going into Canada, you pay the duty on it.
Yeah.
Okay. They've always gotten through without a problem.
Well,
So,
that's awesome. Well, good for that, man. I'm glad to hear that, but I I'm unwilling to put my tobacco license at risk.
well, this is true, right? I don't. I'm going friend to friend.
Right, exactly. And that's, that's probably why it's probably, good. But I've had a couple of people say, "Hey, if I buy them, will you ship them, personally and not from Toro Cigar Company, kind of deal?" And I was like, I don't know about that.
No, they got to find somebody across the if they're living in the Toronto area, they got to find
Yeah.
somebody across the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit, right?
Right.
And
Right.
just say have a friend there and ship them because that's what people do. They'll go there and then
Yeah.
bring them in from
We've
there.
had people as far away from Australia reach out. Will you sell cigars to us? Again, same deal.
Yeah.
Same deal, guys. Find somebody in the States who I can ship to, and I will gladly ship them. You can order them. I'll ship them wherever in the States you want them to go, and then they can repackage, do whatever they need to do to get them to you if that's what you really want to do. But that's between you and him, not me and you.
So, what else is did I not touch on the so you do free shipping on everything over $99,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You have a 14-day return policy. So
Yep.
what is a return? I mean, if I smoke the cigar and I don't like it, or it's cracked, I return it.
Our policy is pretty liberal. So if you don't like it, of course, I want you to return it. If you don't like it, if it's cracked, if it's
So
plugged,
I could just return the ashes.
well, what I ask you to do is just return the unsmoked portion. Like if you buy a box and you smoke two and
Right.
it was plugged, they were cracked, they were too dry, whatever the complaint is, just send me back the unsmoked portion. We'll refund you or give you store credit and you can purchase something else.
Okay.
No questions asked. We're not going to nickel and dime anybody. Just send me back. We've had one person send back one partial box of cigars, and I've had two others that didn't come back to me about the cigar, but they went directly to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer, of course, sent them replacement cigars, and I found out about it on the flip side.
Okay.
So, and I don't care. If you want to come to me, I'm going to make it right for you. If you want to go to the manufacturer and they make it right for you, as long as you are happy at the end of the day, I'm good with either way.
Okay. And then you also all your payment is done through major credit card purchases. You're not using Venmo and any of that.
No, it's all through we actually use a PCI compliant credit card processor that is premium tobacco processing, which is the um, sponsored credit card processing for PCA.
Right.
Those
Perfect.
guys. Yep,
Perfect. So I think we covered the website and everything that you're doing. You going to PCA this year in New Orleans?
we are.
Okay, so
We
hopefully
are.
I'll see you there.
Yeah,
We can sit back face to face and burn one.
absolutely.
Um, let's talk. Let's shift off cigars for a second and go back into a little bit of your life. So what branch in the military do you serve?
United States Navy.
Okay, and
Yep.
career Navy.
Nope, nope. 10 years. I did 10 years and then took basically an early retirement. Well, it wasn't really an early retirement, but it was during a downsizing period. So
Hmm.
I just took the opportunity and left.
Okay, and where you were deployed?
Oh yeah. So the first 6 years I was in was on two ships, uh guided missile cruiser,
You're on
CG
Aegis cruiser.
CG-17, the Harry E. Arnell, that
Right.
was not originally an Aegis cruiser, but got retrofitted, was the first retrofitted Aegis cruiser. Yes.
That got fingerprints on the Aegis cruiser at the design of the radar system.
Oh, wow. Nice.
My days back at Raytheon back in the early 80s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so we have that tie because that we definitely fired some missiles
Yep. And also
off
the
of that guy.
F-14. I also did F-14 work back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then the second ship was a fast frigate. So it's basically two small ships, tin cans, and loved that. 6 years at sea. Had a great time, met a lot of great people, still stay in touch with some of them. And really just loved every minute of it. You know, I was young, 18, 20, 22-year old, just seeing the world. Got deployed during Desert Storm, Desert Shield. So got my Southwest Asian Service Medal. And then went to shore duty for about 4.5 years. I was on shore duty as military police and
Oh,
physical
okay.
security. Yeah. So Navy law enforcement on shore duty. And honestly, I just probably got too comfortable with this. Hey, this is what a 9 to 5 job is. You know, I can go home every day and said, you know what? It's probably time for me to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. You work a lot with the JAGs through that?
Well, no, not really. You know, there were JAG investigators assigned to our command, but they worked closer with NCIS
Oh,
than with us. And we had NCIS not attached to our command, but available to us through. Well, I was at Sinclair Fleet in Norfolk, so
yeah.
that's a very small base across the street from NOB, from Naval Operations Base Norfolk, and that base had 33 ranking flag officers assigned on that base. It was NATO headquarters for the East Coast. It was Sinclair Fleet headquarters. It was Subland Fleet headquarters, in a building called NH-95, which is the backup building if the Pentagon got taken out. That's where operations would move
Oh,
to.
okay.
There's a building, a big ass building with no windows and heavily armed guards, including myself and a detachment of a Marine security force. That you really, you know, use of deadly force signs as you walk into the building, kind of deal.
I kind of know a couple of those in my lifetime.
Exactly, right. You know, so it was one of
We
those
don't talk
buildings.
a lot about it, but
You,
it's yeah, I've had my
yeah,
experiences.
yeah.
It's yep.
It,
You got to be involved to really appreciate what it is the United States military's capabilities are, and
yeah,
we are the most powerful military in the world, hands down. Nobody's doing.
hands down, hands down. Yeah, and I really enjoyed. I'm very proud of my military service. I really enjoyed it, but you know, having a young family at the time, you know, when my son was born, I was in the Mediterranean, and
Mm.
I didn't see him until he was 4.5 months old.
Wow, that's
And and when I got out, um, I just, I just didn't want to see my second child. I did not want that to happen for my second child, and
Did you
and
get
it
to at
did.
least
I was
see the
home.
first steps, or did you miss that?
Wow, sheesh.
Four
No,
and a half
I missed
months.
I missed that too. I missed a
Yeah.
lot of my son's first. I missed a lot. In 1991 during Desert Shield and Desert Storm, I was in Homeport 31 days. That was broken up over, a week here, a couple days here, and a couple days there. I was gone the majority of 91 and 92.
So did you ever have a Snickers bar out of a vending machine on a naval vessel or facility?
I'm sure I did because I do enjoy Snickers.
Because I'll give you another connection to me. So my ex brother-in-law was the guy that was responsible for all vending in the United States Navy. Every single product that went into a vending machine, he was in control of.
Wow.
How you like to have that job? Like guys,
Well,
like he had like famous Amos
yeah.
actually visited my ex mother-in-law's house on Thanksgiving one year. And this guy walks into this the big tall dude, man. He walks in the house and they're friends. He met him in Hawaii. And he's like, yeah, he was in town. He invited him over. And with I'm sitting at dinner with this guy from Famous Amos. It's like, wow.
Wow. So, on the two small ships I was on, we didn't have vending machines. I think some of the carriers actually did at the time. And I
Okay.
can't even remember now, this is early
Amos
90s,
Dub, maybe.
late 80s, early 90s, so uh it was a different Navy back then, it was than it is now. So maybe there are vending machines now, but carriers, I think, had carriers, the LHDs. I think
Probably
they
the
had vending.
subs. Probably the subs did.
Probably because those guys are just bougie anyway.
So
My dad was a retired submariner, so I can say that
okay.
and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was on an he was a plank sailor, if you know what that is.
A plank owner?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was on the first crew on the USS Boxer, the aircraft carrier in World War II, leaving San Diego. And
Wow.
they decommissioned that ship. They sent every one of those plank sailors a piece of the wood deck,
Yeah.
which is just you just smell it a mile away with all the creosote on it and everything,
Yep.
black. And he was so proud of that one thing with the picture of the picture of the ship and a piece of the plank. And he had that hanging in the living room, and the living room always smelled like creosote.
So when I was in, the only ships that had wooden decks left were the battleships.
Mm.
That was it. And they began decommissioning the battleships as I was separating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was a sad day when you start seeing those, because those things are amazing. Those
Yep.
battleships were absolutely amazing. Those guns, the decks, the crew. My hat's off to those battleship sailors, man. If I would have known then what I know now, I would have done my best to try to get assigned to a battleship for
Nice.
sure.
So now let's shift back a little to cigars again. When did you smoke your first cigar, and do you remember what it was?
I my very first cigar was on my promotion to E5 in the Navy. Um, my father-in-law at the time, for my first wife, was a retired lieutenant commander Mustang officer. So he started off as an E1, came up through the ranks, and then went LDO and became a lieutenant commander and retired after 32 years.
Wow.
And when I got promoted E5, he took me out on the back deck. We were barbecuing chicken and drinking Crown Royal, which he called the nectar of gods. And we fired up a cigar. That was my very first cigar. And it was a Macanudo something or another.
Okay. Probably one of the original Macs.
Yeah, who knows?
Good Jamaican cigar.
Yeah, I think that was 93. I think it was 92 or 93. I
Okay.
just finished the deployment. So I was back in for a while, getting ready to rotate to shore duty.
So I'm going to steal a question from my friends from the Cigar International
Zoom that happens every Tuesday. Great group of guys. If you have nothing to do on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you get on this Zoom, and there's people from all over the world on this.
Nice.
And one of the questions they ask on their show is, name 3 people, living or dead, that you would like to have a cigar with.
I'd love to have another cigar with my ex father-in-law, my first father-in-law, because he was such a great guy. You know, exes are a funny thing, and exes families are a funny thing. But Tom and I always really got along, saw eye to eye. We had the Navy in common. We obviously, had his daughter in common there for a little bit, but he was a great guy. I'd love to have another cigar with him now, knowing what I do now and what I've become in the cigar industry. I'd love to have another cigar with him. Um, I'd love to have a cigar with Michael Jordan, man. I think that would be cool. Just sitting down with MJ. I grew up in the 80s. I turned 18 in 1986 and joined the Navy. And, Michael Jordan and UNC was a big thing. When I was in high school and early days in the Navy, he was the thing. And then of course he went on to his professional career. And I just think the guy's he's a pretty awesome guy, and the fact that he loves cigars the way that he does is awesome. Um, and then a third, uh, I've had a lot of cigars with a lot of people that I've had a cigar with Steve Saka.
Mm-hmm.
Great, to sit down and have a cigar with that guy. Again,
And
Navy
pick his
guy.
brain.
You're just a Navy guy, just to hang out with him, for 45 minutes. One morning before PCA started, we got in early and he's just sitting there getting ready to start his day. And he just took 45 minutes out of his day. Me and Jake just sat down and have a cigar and just BS for 45 minutes. That was just the coolest thing. And then, Sin and Josh Coburn, having a cigar with those guys, I don't know who the third would be.
Could be living or dead.
Uh,
Go back in history too.
Yeah, it's a tough one. The third one's a tough one, I think. I don't know. Who's that guy from The Sopranos?
Oh,
Tony.
and Tony, James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini. I think that would be cool to sit down and have a cigar with him. I like that guy. He's a good
He
guy.
was he was fun.
He's a good actor,
Yeah, he died too early. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one that shocked me, and this is the one guy, he completely shocked the room when he said it. He goes, he'd love to have a cigar with Hitler
Holy cow.
because he would like to sit down and say, what is it why are you doing what you're doing, and do you have any idea on how this is going to end?
I've said this and I've heard it said a lot, especially recently. I think cigar smoking should be mandatory for every politician in the world.
Absolutely, because you can solve problems if you sit down and smoke a cigar
I'm
together.
telling you what, man. Me and my close friends who will sit down and have political discussions, because I don't generally do that
Right.
in the public eye. But if we will sit down with close friends and have political discussions, we solve the world's problems just sitting here with a cigar.
Ain't that
Hey,
amazing?
if they only did term limits, this would be,
Yeah.
we solved the world's problems over a cigar. So if it were mandatory for every sitting politician in the world to smoke cigars on a daily basis, I think this world would be a better place.
There you go. I love it. Now, when you mentioned Sopranos, so we'll shift a little bit into entertainment. Um, so you watching any cool streams? Because the one I'm watching right now is The Penguin.
The Penguin. No, I've not seen the
So,
Penguin.
so The
It,
Penguin is on HBO. It's on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. We're going into the third episode, I think, or the fourth episode. It's an 8-part series, and it picks up right at the end of the movie The Batman.
okay.
All right. So after the Riddler destroyed Gotham, okay, blew up and all the water flooded in and all of that, there was a spot in there where there was the Riddler was the main nasty guy, but there also was the Penguin was involved.
Right.
Okay. And this is a riveting show. I almost put it as a psychological thriller. Okay.
Really.
And it's gangster. It's all gangster stuff. It's the families and different families that are feuding with each other, and he's doing everything he can to basically take the helm of everything. And he is just a guy
Wow.
that kind of raised through the ranks, and he's just kind of figured out that he's gonna go do this. And I won't spoil it all. You just if you liked The Sopranos, this is a miniseries that is just riveting. And every
Nice.
show, there's going to be some screw up that happens that he ends up navigating around and adjusting his plans to come out shining all the time.
Nice.
So it's a really fun show. So if you get a chance to tune into that, catch it
Oh,
up, you start it from the beginning, and
yep.
you'll enjoy it, because if you enjoyed The Sopranos, you'll enjoy this. And he's a cigar smoking guy too.
There you go. Well, I'll check it out because I'm always looking for new series, especially like mini series and stuff. But my wife and I currently we're doing, we're always got a couple of different things going on, but the one we're really kind of hooked on right now is the series From. Have you seen that?
I haven't heard from.
It's really a kind of a strange show, and it's definitely a thriller, and it is a little gruesome. I'll warn the audience, if you're going to take my word for it, at least know that I warned you. It's a little gruesome. It's a little zombie-ish kind of
Hmm.
thing kind of going on, but it's about a small town that people get transported into. They're driving down the road, there's a tree in the road, they have to turn around. When they turn around, they find themselves driving through this small town, and
Oh,
there's
I
no
think I do know this one.
yeah, there's no way to get out, right?
Right.
And it
Yeah. Yeah.
but if you're outside after dark, these people come out, they're just people, and they just walk, they don't run, they don't chase you, but if they get you, they kill you. And they kill you by basically gutting you. They just rip you open inside and people scream. It's just so you see some of the gruesome stuff, but the storyline is fantastic. The actors are fantastic, and the suspense in it is just insanely delicious. If you like suspenseful stuff, it's really good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed over the years how, HBO, Netflix, Amazon, some of their self-made
Oh
shows,
yeah,
movies are, they're they're big productions, and
yeah, really well
no
done.
longer crappy TV.
Yeah, I agree. Agree.
You know?
Totally.
So, what about music?
Oh man, if you saw my playlist, you would be blown away. I'm very eclectic. I have everything on my iPhone, my iTunes account, from Metallica to Iron Maiden, all the way to classical guitar and everything in between. Just about, so I can listen to just about everything. But if I had to pick a favorite genre, I mean, I'm always probably going to go back to 80s, the heavy metal, hair
Hair
band type.
bands.
Yeah, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne, Iron Maiden, Ronnie James Dio. Those are the guys I grew up with. My rebellious side, teenage rebellious side, probably pulls me back there every time. I had a big country period in the 90s when country music was real country music. Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson, those guys.
Yeah, I'm more. I lean mostly to classic rock because I'm 65, so I'm gonna get in. I get into Stones and Zeppelin. I just saw the
Yep,
Stones tour they just did, which is amazing. 80-year-old guys running around playing guitars. It just blows my
exactly.
and then I was I've always been into like the punk era. I think that some of that stuff was amazing. The Sex Pistols, the Ramones,
Yep.
right? Green Day. I just bought the new Green Day album, and that that is an album. If you have suicidal tendencies, I don't recommend listening to the first side of the album. Seriously, it is.
Wow.
there are trigger. If you read the lyrics, there would be trigger words in there. Okay,
Wow.
because I was listening to it when I first got it. I'm reading the lyrics and I'm like going, whoa. This is a tough first side, you know, and then like, I was never into Ozzy, right? Or when early on, but I got into him later. I really got to appreciate what he did for music and for other bands. And back in the 70s, my girlfriend from high school, her best friend was a big Ozzy fan. She had the long blonde, straight blonde hair. She just was
Yeah.
Ozzy. And they were gonna go to a Sabbath concert in Madison Square Garden. And I was like, I'm really not into Ozzy. And I was like, who's the warm-up band? And the warm-up band was Aerosmith. They said, oh,
Okay.
some band out of Boston, the new band, Aerosmith, I said, yeah, I've heard some of their tracks. I'll go listen. I'll go there. So we go to the
Yeah.
concert, and Aerosmith comes out and just rocks the house. I mean, they're at their peak, their first peak, right? Because they went through ebbs and flows in their career.
Right.
Like when they were like rocked out there, they had that the best album, Rock's album was there, right? It was just amazing. They get off the stage, the big chrome cross starts coming out of the top of the garden, and he's playing, I think, Iron Man. And Ozzy says, "Stop the music."
Wow.
And everybody's like, and he calls Steven and Joe out on stage, and he looks at them in front of 20,000 people and he says, you're not supposed to blow the main act off the stage. Now go back in your rooms. And they
Yeah.
went on and they played the concert, and the third encore, this is back in the day when they did like encores after encores. The
Right. Right.
third encore took a little longer to set up. And when they came on, they had two drum sets. They had both bands, and they did a complete medley of songs between the two. And it didn't dawn on me then until I went to Ozfest later in my life that this is what Ozzy does. Ozzy puts new acts on the stage and they become extremely successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's an amazing human being.
Yeah. He definitely led the way for heavy metal in the 80s and long after that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but you have been to any concerts lately? I'm far and few these days.
I'm far and few these days, concert going wise. It's probably been since the early 2000s since I've been to an actual concert. My wife and I love go listen to live music. We'll go down to the park down here and some cover band is playing cover music or something, in Newport News City Park or something. We'll go listen to that, but that's about the extent of it. I'd love to see the Blues Travelers though live
Okay.
one day. I'd love to go see those guys. I think they're live would be awesome.
See what I think Drew Estate should do, and I actually going to have to reach out to my friends at Drew Estate. I'm going to propose this to them. They should really, with their M81 series,
Yep.
okay, and the S8 and the S84, they ought to get together with Metallica and do a raffle and give away, let's say, 10 tickets, VIP backstage passes to a Metallica concert. It'll cost them nothing for that.
Right. Right.
Okay. And it would be like you buy a box of cigars and you get an entry into it, and then just raffle off like 10 tickets to a Metallica concert to get meet and greet the band,
Yeah.
maybe smoke some cigars with Hetfield.
No
I mean,
kidding.
it would be amazing, and it would cost them nothing. It would be
Exactly.
it's like, yeah, have a ticket.
Exactly. Yeah. I would definitely buy that box as a hope to win.
Ain't I right? I mean,
Yep.
this is
I
so.
wouldn't win it because that's just my kind of luck. But
There
I
you go.
tell you what, I'd buy one hoping to win it.
So you all heard it here tonight. Okay, I'm gonna reach out to these guys and say, go do this. But you heard it first time tonight. This is what I think they should do. But
Nice.
I don't work for Drew Estate, so I can't make those decisions. But Jonathan can. So, all right. Well, we're at the hour and a half mark. I do really appreciate you coming on. I want to thank you for your service to this country. I know it's never easy when you're in war zones, and it's difficult. I have many veteran friends, so thank you very much for your service. And I'll
Hey,
give you the last word.
well, let me say, if this is the first time I'm going to use this response to that thank you. A friend of mine shared it with me a couple weeks ago, and I really think it's a good response. And I'm going to say this, Jimmie, you were worth my service.
Thank you.
You were worth it, and everybody else in America is worth it. So, and with that, closing thoughts. Hey, I really appreciate you having me on, man. This was awesome. It was great meeting you face to face, or at least digitally face
Yeah,
to face.
that is what we
You
do
know,
today.
been a huge fan of Stogie Press and the reviews for a long time, and just glad we finally connected and got to do this tonight, man. Really appreciate you having me on.
Fantastic. Well, that's our show, folks. I want to thank all our sponsors. For without them, this show is always a little harder to do. I want to thank everybody who has joined the show now and after. This show will be up on the Stogie Press YouTube channel in a week forever. So you can always see it then if you missed it. And I'm going to say, if I look at my calendar, because now we're back in the groove, I took a little break here. But the next show we have coming up is going to be Henderson Ventura, October 19th. Okay. So next week, Henderson Ventura, great show we're going to have there. I'm going to follow that up with a revisit with Shanika. For those that don't remember, that was a good thing. She has a whole bunch of new things she's doing. And then we're going to do a show with a local lounge here that just opened up in Cocoa, Florida, called His and Hers. And you'll see an article coming out on that, but they are a great shop. If you're in the local area, I highly recommend visiting that shop and adding it to your rotation of shops in the local Melbourne, Cocoa Brevard area. So with that, that's our show. I want to thank everybody once again, and we're going to catch you on the rebound. We are no longer live.